Hey guys, it is Deborah. If you are experiencing carpal tunnel symptoms, you are going to probably be experiencing some numbness, a bit of tingling, or perhaps even some burning sensations in your hand as well as your fingers. So you're going to want to be wearing one of these. And hopefully you select one that has a metal plate in it to help you give yourself additional support for this now compromised area of your body. But we do need to go beyond the wrist support here to help us really regain motion by doing some exercises. So in today's workout, we're going to go ahead and stretch out the ligament that crosses over the wrist joint so that we can really open up, create space, and reduce tension on this area. And then we can go in and introduce some motion and mobility into the tendons and the nerve that runs through this tunnel, really helping you regain proper hand function, proper wrist function, proper finger function. So all I ask is that you have gotten the go-ahead from your occupational or physical therapist to embark onto long-term care. Now, we have 10 moves. Each move we're doing for 1 minute. There are a few instructions in between each move, making this about a 14-minute long workout. And if you are just as excited about injury rehab as I am, go ahead and give yourself in this video a thumbs up for being with me here today. Find yourself in a comfortable position. Remove your cast. We will begin. All right, to begin, we're going to go ahead and stretch out the ligament in the wrist area. And the first exercise we are going to do for that is our wrist flexion. So go ahead and extend the forearm so that it is parallel to the ground. If you do want to place the forearm on a table and have your wrist hanging off, you can do that. I don't exactly have that in my setup with me here today, so I'm just going to be holding it parallel to the ground. Now, be mindful that there are two bones that go right into the wrist joint, so make sure that they go in evenly. That's going to help alleviate some of the pressure on this ligament. So as we go to stretch, we're just going to flex by bringing the fingertips on up to our face. Keep the fingers extended, holding, and then we're going to release back down. So that motion is really going to begin to strengthen the muscles in the underbelly of the forearm, and it's going to stretch out the front part of the wrist. So we're going to start bringing in some flexibility into this joint. All right, we have 1 minute. I will start the timer. Go ahead and lift. And then we're going to lower all the way down. Lift. Squeezing muscle to bone in your forearm. Really feel that engaging. And then release. As you grow stronger, this is going to get a bit more, you'll be able to play with it a bit more. So depending wherever you are at in your rehab, just take this with how you are feeling today. You're feeling stronger, then go a little bit harder. If you're feeling a little bit too fatigued, then back off and slow the pace down and really accentuate the holds and the extension. And release. Lift. And release. Great job. Next, we're going to flip the palm on over and we're going to work our wrist extension. As we lift now the fingers towards our face, we're then stretching the underbelly of the forearm that we just strengthened, and we're going to strengthen the wrist extensor muscles that are on top that we just stretched. All right, so we're just going to lower, parallel, and then lift back on up. Holding it for a few seconds, really engaging, squeezing muscle to bone, and then lowering back down. All right, we have 1 minute. The timer has begun. And lift, hold, and lower. Squeeze muscle to bone, activate it. You're going to even feel it in your upper arm as well. But really feel these extensor muscles closest to the wrist. Really concentrate on them. And then exhale, lowering down, lift on up. This is challenging because I feel it. Do you too? I know you do. Exhale. Actually, let's try exhaling as we lift. That will be the hard part. Inhaling as we release. Lift. Hold. Squeeze. Stretch. Release. Last one. Lift. Hold. You got this. Keep going. Hold. And release. Great, great job. All right. Next up, we're going to now move into our up, up, down, down. So we're going to work through, we isolated each movement between the flexion and the extension. Now we're going to move through both of them to help us improve our range of motion. I'm going to go tap, tap, down, tap, tap, up. Tap, tap, down, tap, tap, up. Don't forget to squeeze muscle to bone. The timer has begun. Tap, tap, lift, lift. You got it. You really feel it as you engage the forearm. We need to help these muscles grow stronger, because the more that they're stronger, the less pressure that we do put on the wrist. And keeping that forearm bones parallel, then we're really allowing the wrist joint to function in the way that it is designed, alleviating pressure on that ligament. Lift. Holding for a split second each time. Lift. Lower. Ooh, yeah, right, I feel it too. But we got this. We're strong. We're good. That felt amazing. Now we're going to take our hand and we're just going to lift up and down for what I like to call hammer curls. Up and down. So we've worked our wrist on this way. Now we're going to work it on a side plane. On a side plane to be able to help overall introduce entire improving mobility in the entire area of the wrist. Ready? Lift up, down. Again, keeping the forearm parallel. We haven't moved, we just twisted the wrist and we're moving in a different direction, feeling a stretch on the top part when we're down and a stretch on the bottom part when we lift up. And alternatively, when we're down, we're squeezing muscle to bone, strengthening, and the opposite, squeezing muscle to bone on the top when we lift. Hold it a split second each area. I'm pretty fatigued, right? Yeah, this is intense. This is really, really good. Let's keep going. Up and down. 5 seconds. We got it. Up, hold, and down. Hold. Up and down. Great, great job. Whew, you feeling that fatigue? All right, now we're gonna go in and stretch the thumb. There are a couple ways we can go ahead and set up the thumb for a stretch. The first is extending the palm on out and then crossing underneath with your other arm, taking that thumb, spiraling it externally, and then helping yourself by extending the fingers in the arm and extending out the thumb. This would be one position where you can go ahead and stretch your thumb. Alternatively, you can bring your hand here, starfish your hands as wide as they will go. Help your thumb by externally rotating it slightly and then drawing it back. I personally like this method a little bit better than the previous setup. So you pick what's best for you, and you might need to try either one to feel what you like, so you can figure out which one that you like better. What we're looking for is really a nice juicy stretch in the thumb pad here, okay? We have 1 minute. Find your position, get your stretch on. There are 2 ways you can now approach your stretch. You can statically hold it once you find your sweet spot, and the sweet spot really happens when you can feel the stretch, but there's no real pain involved. You're just feeling the muscle really stretch, relax, and release, to which you can use your exhale to help your body settle into the stretch. This would be a nice, great static stretch. If you want to move in and out of the stretch a little bit to help introduce some mobility and get familiar with your range of motion, that would be a bit more of dynamic stretching. You can do that. Just be mindful not to stretch too far beyond your limits. Here you go. Feels so good on that thumb pad. I love stretching, no doubt about it. I love it. It feels amazing. All right, now we're gonna move on. Since we've now loosened up the area of the wrist, we can go into work some tendon glides, and there are a couple of glides that are really specific to the tendons that run through this carpal tunnel. So what we're gonna do is have our hands here. We're gonna, again, keep the forearm bones parallel so that they go nice and even into the wrist. Then we're gonna just hook, and you're gonna really activate the tendons that go right into those fingers, right through that tunnel, and then we're gonna lift. All right, hook and lift. All right, I'll start the timer. And when you are hooking, try as if resist down as if you're pressing on something, and really squeeze muscle to bone in your forearm. As you then lift on up, you're going to extend and spread. Hook down and lift. Hook and lift. Yeah, I can feel it all the way in the belly of my forearm. Again, keeping my forearm bone as best as I can parallel, and moving really through a resistance, like I'm pressing, is really engaging all of the muscles to be able to help strengthen them. So we do need to stretch the belly of these muscles. Press and hook and lift. Whew. That's such a good tendon glide. All right, the next tendon glide, we're gonna work in the same fashion, work the same sort of motion because these tendons are going through the carpal tunnel, but we're just gonna come down into what I like to call a tabletop position, and then we're gonna lift back on up. So tabletop, and then lifting. Again, you're resisting down, resisting against gravity, and then lifting on up, all right? 1 minute. All right, there we go. Lift down. You again, same muscles, still squeeze muscle to bone, and lift. And lower. And lift. Lower. Whew. Really get the pinky and the ring finger side when you do these. Don't just dominantly pull from the pointer finger or the middle finger. That way you can really engage these muscles on the side here, because that's going to help you be able to keep and stabilize the forearm bone into the wrist. And lift. Do you feel it? Whew. My fingers are pretty fatigued, as well as my forearm muscles. So that's exactly what we're going after here. One more, because I want to do one more. Really feel it, really hold down, and then lift up and release. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So that is the tendon portion of the workout. The last section of the workout really has to do with the nerve. There's one nerve that runs through the entirety of the carpal tunnel. So to do that, we need to extend our arm out to the sides. I'm working a bit with a shoulder impingement. I'm at the very tail end of my healing. I have done so much work to help myself. So I just want to take some time to safely get my arm bone in socket. I'm a bit unstable in my shoulder. That feels pretty good for me. You might have come into that a lot more easier than I have, but in order to protect ourselves, we really do need to honor any limitations that we do have. The first exercise I want to do for this nerve is to really just stretch your fingers down. All right? Just stretch them down. Depending on where you are at in your rehab, you might not be able to go very far, or you might be able to go very far, depending on, again, where you are at. So honor where you are feeling today. You can always come back to this workout as you continue to rehabilitate. So this is all we're going to do, is just drop the fingers low and extend the arm, okay? I will set the timer. We have 1 minute. And down and up. Yeah, you got it. Excited that we made it to this portion of the workout, because you know what? There's only 2 more moves after this. And I'm already feeling pretty strong in my forearm, pretty woken up in my wrist. And this just feels really good because it's all the way up my arm. Keep going. Lift. Stretch. Lift. You got it. Stretch. Lift. Stretch. Last one. Lift and stretch. Whew. Such a good move. We're going to continue to keep the arm here. This time we're just going to move our head as we lower our fingers. So in this case, we're just continuing to introduce the functionality of this nerve with the motion of moving the hand through its range of motion. All right, we have 1 minute here. And go. Is your arm fatiguing? Because mine is. We're growing stronger. Happy, happy days, because it feels so good to rehab. It has taken me a long time to address the impingement in my shoulder. So injury rehab is not something that you can really force yourself. You just keep showing up for your workouts, and eventually over time you begin to experience healing. It's very much as a physical healing as it is a mental healing. And it feels really good right now to know that all the work that I have done for my shoulder is allowing me to do this motion without feeling any pain. Like really, I couldn't even lift my arm at one point. Our final move, we're on to our final move, guys. So our final move is going to be moving the head in the opposite direction as we bring the fingers down. Together and away. Just like that. This is it. Last minute. You got this, I promise. 1 minute. Timer has begun. Let's go. And extend and lift. You got it. I know your arm is so fatigued. Mine is too, but we got this. Come on. Extend. Such a good stretch. Although I shouldn't be moving my head in that type of motion. Got a little excited there. Can't help it, I feel so good. I put so much work in and it feels really good. You know that feeling. Come on. Extend and lift. Extend and lift. We have 5 seconds. Come on, last couple. Up. Last one. One more. You got it. Extend, hold, and come all the way on up. Release your arm. Whoo, whoo, whoo. That was so much work. You did amazing. I'm so super proud of you. Thank you so much for showing up and hanging out with me today, rehabilitating our body, because I love having company. It doesn't feel so good when we're rehabilitating on our own. So thank you again for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe to Aline Postures. Let me know how you did in the comments below. I would love to hear how your body responded and what exercise was your favorite. And if you have any suggestions on anything else that you want to work on going forward. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you have a great upcoming week. I will see you next time. Bye.